to the topic primary hyperaldosteronism in the module endocrinology. By the end of this topic, you should be able to define primary hyperaldosteronism, explain the pathophysiology and risk factors for this condition, describe the clinical manifestations of primary hyperaldosteronism, outline the investigations carried out to screen, diagnose, and monitor the disease response to therapy, discuss the principles of management of primary hyperaldosteronism, and finally describe the complications of primary hyperaldosteronism. Let's get started. Let's begin with defining primary hyperaldosteronism, which is also known as Conn syndrome. It refers to the excess production of the hormone aldosterone from the adrenal glands. Aldosterone is a steroid hormone produced in the adrenal cortex, which is in the zona glomerulosa, as one of the major end products of the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. There are a few causes that contribute to the progression of primary hyperaldosteronism, which are aldosterone-producing adenomas, idiopathic hyperaldosteronism, aldosterone-producing adrenal carcinoma, ectopic aldosterone secretion from the kidneys or ovaries, and bilateral zona glomerulosa hyperplasia. The pathophysiology is best explained where the physiological regulation of the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system is overruled by excessive autonomous aldosterone secretion by one or both diseased adrenal glands. The excessive production of aldosterone causes increased sodium and water retention owing to its action, and the collecting tubules result in fluid overload state. Raised potassium secretion into the tubular fluid, thus enhancing renal or urinary wasting, resulting in hypokalemia, and metabolic alkalosis due to increased renal hydrogen ion loss mediated by hypokalemia and aldosterone. A clear history from patients help us not only to not miss the diagnosis. A clear history from patients help us to not miss the diagnosis, as diagnosing primary hyperaldosteronism can be challenging. Symptoms that patient may complain include features suggestive of hypokalemia, which are fatigue, muscle weakness, cramping, constipation, vomiting due to ileus caused by hypokalemia, headaches and palpitations, and polydipsia and polyuria from hypokalemic-induced nephrogenic DI. Features suggestive of hypertension include severe headaches, breathing difficulties, visual abnormalities, and dizziness. Patients with primary hyperaldosteronism do not always present with specific findings, so a high suspicion is based on the patient's history, and it's vital in making the diagnosis. Besides, possible clinical findings can be elicited in patients include hypertension, and its findings are related to cardiac failure, hemiparesis due to stroke, carotid bruits, abdominal bruits, proteinuria, hypertensive encephalopathy, and hypertensive retinal changes on fundoscopy, weakness, distended abdomen suggestive of intestinal obstruction due to ileus caused by hypokalemia, highlighting that primary aldosteronism is typically not associated with edema despite the volume expanded state associated with it due to the spontaneous natriuresis and diuresis called the aldosterone escape. Investigations further support and confirms a diagnosis. In line with that, bedside tests help to give an initial impression on patient's health status, as the results are instantaneous, and those tests are urine dipstick in view of renal insufficiency due to uncontrolled hypertension, where the possible result is raised albumin levels, and electrocardiography in view of hypokalemia, where the possible finding is peaked P wave, presence of U wave, and inverted T waves. Besides, further studies are required to validate the diagnosis, and tests that should be obtained include serum electrolytes, and one would expect to see reduced potassium level, raised sodium level, mild hypomagnesemia, and random plasma aldosterone. Venous blood gases which results indicate metabolic alkalosis, a 24-hour urine aldosterone excretion test, and it is a diagnostic test. A 24-hour urine aldosterone is greater than 14 micrograms per day after 3 days of salt loading, and this is diagnostic. A salt loading test where daily ingestion of at least 10 to 12 grams of sodium chloride for at least 5 days before the test. Once the oral protocol has been met, a 24-hour urine aldosterone, sodium, potassium, serum aldosterone, and creatinine excretions are measured. Next would be an adrenal venous sampling, and this is a test able to identify the exact cause. The adrenal veins are catheterized via a percutaneous femoral venous approach. And last but not least, a dexamethasone suppression test, which is only in the setting of a possible familial aldosteronism. Type 1 familial primary aldosteronism is dexamethasone suppressible, unlike type 2 and type 3. In line with other lab studies, imaging helps in localizing the causes, especially in cases of tumors. Common imagings that will be ordered include abdominal CT, and this is to view the adrenal glands as well as obtain a better visualization of the tumors if present. In contrast, MRI is accepted not to be superior in visualizing the adrenal glands, so it isn't the common imaging ordered. The goals in management for primary hyperaldosteronism are normalizing blood pressure, normalization of levels of serum potassium and other electrolytes, and normalization of serum aldosterone levels. Deciding the appropriate management for this condition depends on its cause. Medical management is the choice of therapy in idiopathic hyperaldosteronism. In cases of aldosteronoma, medical therapy is considered pre-operatively to correct the blood pressure and hypokalemia. Choices of medical therapies that are suggested would be calcium channel blockers, which is to reduce the production of aldosterone, mineralocorticoid antagonist, which provides blood pressure control and normalization of plasma volume, plus serum plasma concentrations, especially patients with aldosteronomas, glucocorticoids, which is given to achieve adequate blood pressure control with administration of the lowest possible dose of glucocorticoids. Although medical treatment provides symptomatic relief to patients, a surgical approach remains as the mainstay therapy. Choice of surgery is adrenalectomy, performed via formal laparotomy, and the technique is via laparoscopic. Prior to surgery, a 8 to 10 weeks course of medical therapy is essential to normalize the blood pressure and correct the electrolyte abnormalities. In summary, excess production of the hormone aldosterone from the adrenal glands is known as primary hyperaldosteronism. Causes are such as tumors, hyperplasia of the gland, ectopic excretion caused by raised in sodium, water retention with potassium excretion, and these causes give rise to hypokalemia and hypertension. With bedside investigations such as ECG and urine dipsticks assist in initial evaluation, whereas level of serum electrolytes validates the diagnosis. Abdominal CT helps to visualize the tumors. Medical therapy and surgical therapy are choices of treatment. We have come to the end of this topic. Thank you.